friends, good morning and welcome to, believe it or not, Florida. I know, I'm wearing gloves and a hat. The weather's crazy. It's 32 degrees here today and chilly. I'm dressed like I'm in Minnesota, but I'm in Florida. A little bit distracted, a little pulled off. I was just kind of setting up this camera to do one of my little walking shots, and I found this beautiful frost-covered spider web. So pulled me off the trail, it got me set up, started shooting right away. So disjointed start to today's video, but welcome. I'm going to show you here what we're looking at. This is a beautiful thing, and I think the scene's going to disappear as my sun comes up here a bit more. I'll set up down close, 24 to 105 lens at 105 millimeters with my close-up filter, and this one's all about this detail, the spider web. This one's a little bit tricky because I'm having to kind of just move the tripod just a little bit with my hands and then be really steady while I take the shot, shooting at an ISO 100 f5.6, 1/40th of a second. The 5.6 is to just make the spider web stand out, let everything else behind it just kind of disappear. Show you here what we're looking at on the camera here. Here it is, look at, it's just this beautiful. I got this great little arch. I don't want to touch it, but I got this great little arch coming here across the top, and then just all this beautiful little intricate design, and then just it being covered in frost is just incredible. So that's the really simple shot today. One or two images of this, just to try to make sure I get everything in focus, which is something I tend to not do. Pack this up, keep going. We're headed in towards a river. And once I get there, maybe I can calm down, explain a little bit better about what we're doing today. All right, my friends. Here we are, we've made it down to the river. This is the Kalachi River, I think is how you pronounce that. Sure, I'm butchering it. Here's the name of it here. And we are in the Little Big Econ State Forest here in Florida, about 40 minutes outside of Orlando. And it's shaping up to be a really nice day. Sun's up, starting to warm up. I've lost the gloves. Still have my hat on, but that's mostly just to hide the hair at the moment. Beautiful day. And today's goal is a simple one. Today, I just want to slow down and I just want to pay attention to what I'm doing. I want to stop rushing through everything. My last outing, absolutely what I did. Just rushed through all of it and I missed almost every single shot I took. That's less than ideal. So today's goal is just pay attention to what I'm doing, think it through, slow down, and pay attention. No reason not to. I'm out here to enjoy myself, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. And while I'm doing that, I want to be aware of the enjoyment and the things that I'm doing and what I'm trying to accomplish, and think about all of the steps involved to get there. So slow down, pay attention. That's what we're going to try to do today. So I'll hike along this trail, goes out that way a little bit, comes back that way a little bit, and we'll see what we find along the way. Shaping up to be a really nice day so far. Let's go see what we can find, shall we? All right, everybody, I found my first shot. It's gonna come as a surprise to you. It's a leaf in the sand. It's kind of, I don't know if it's ridiculous or not. It's this beautiful, big, broad scene. I've got this blue heron sitting in a tree over here. Just had a condor flying overhead, and I've turned my attention to this fallen leaf in the sand. I don't know. This one's really great though, because it's got all these little grains of sand sprinkled all over it. It's got these beautiful, perfect 5 points, and just kind of this nice undulation of the sand. It's really pretty. Got my diffuser out to kind of even out the exposure on the scene. Shooting down at it with my 24 to 105 at 105, shooting at an ISO 100 f16 1/6 of a second. I am going to maybe focus stack this. What I'm going to do is get the point of each leaf to make sure that I have this whole leaf sharp and in focus. Whether or not I'm going to need any or all of those, I don't know, but this is part of my paying attention and thinking things through. These are things I might need, so I'm going to grab them now. So that's the idea here. I'll show you this leaf here through the camera, widen out a little bit so the camera video frame looks a little more like it. Beautiful, gorgeous little leaf. Its stem is sticking straight up right here, and you can just see kind of all the sand that is sprinkled all over the leaf. That's the shot, really straightforward. Like I said, I'm gonna take about 4 or 5 images of this, each point of the leaf, make sure I have the full leaf in focus, and that's my image. I like it. This is going to come as a surprise to you, but I found a shot that does not require me to point my camera at the ground. Hold on. I've got some tree trunks out here in the middle of the river and these really nice reflections with them going on. So I think that's going to be the shot. What I want to do is concentrate on those reflections. Get a little bit of this tree trunks, mostly reflections. So this could be fun. Might even get the filters out for this shot. I'm excited. All right, getting set up on this. I've swapped out the lens, the 24-105, not quite enough reach to really kind of zoom in and just fill this frame with what I want this shot to end up being. Polarizer on the lens as well. That polarizer I am really using to just overemphasize the reflections in the water. I've got these beautiful greens from the trees on the other side of the river, on the bank of the river, and this great, beautiful blue from this blue sky reflecting as well. Shot is just these reflections of these tree trunks. Got this one big main subject sticking up out of the water and another little fella off to its right just a bit. This thing is mostly about the reflections. I'm cutting off the top of the main tree trunk in this image, mostly because I don't want the bank on the other side of the river in this shot. It detracts, it doesn't add anything. So just kind of cutting off the top of the trunk, making this more about the reflections. Shooting this at an ISO 100, f11, 1/5 of a second. Show you here what we're looking at in the back of this camera. Widen out just a bit so you can see a little more what we're gonna get in the still camera. But I got that big, beautiful guy right out there, beautiful reflection going on down here, and its little friend off to its right. And then we got the great greens and the blues reflected in the water. That's what this shot's about. It's all about these reflections, and I really, really like it. It's a pretty straightforward, simple shot. One frame, done. So fantastic. Okay friends, we are on the back portion of the out and back trail, very near the trailhead as a matter of fact. And I'm not gonna lie, I was starting to become a little dejected. I have been struggling trying to find images, which is a bit ridiculous. This place is incredible. There are so many really cool and interesting things, but I was struggling trying to figure out how to make a shot with most of it. So starting to feel a little down, starting to feel a little dejected, but on the way back to the trailhead, I came across this guy. There are these short little pine trees around here. I'm not sure what they are. I'm gonna have to look that up. But this one here seems to be bifurcating right here in front of me, and two of the little stubs sticking up are just very white and fuzzy and very contrasty to all the dark greens around here and beautifully backlit. So trying to get this shot before my son creeps over here and changes the lighting on these guys. So we're gonna get set up here really quick, and then I will show you what I'm thinking with these two little fuzzy Muppets in the Florida woods. All right, so played around just a little bit, horizontal, vertical, and that's kind of it. I've decided vertical because it's tall, it's a tall subject, and I want to just get a little bit more of it in the frame. Beautiful backlit, fuzzy white, so it's just kind of got this great little halo effect all the way around it. I'll show you here what we're looking at on the back of the camera. This is it. You can see these great, just, I don't know what these are, just if they're branches, new branches of the tree, new growth, or die off, unsure. I'm gonna have to do a little research, which is actually kind of fun. That's something else I get to learn about the places I go, which is really, it's kind of fascinating what happens out here in nature. But this is fun. It's just a fun little shot. I'm gonna take 2 images of this. I'm gonna get a focus on the top of this guy on the left. It's a little bit closer to me. And then about midway down base of the right one, just to make sure I've got focus everywhere. Shooting the image at an f5.6 ISO 100, 1/320th of a second. That 5.6 is because I want everything behind these fuzzy Muppets, I'm calling them, to fall off. I want it to be blurry, and I want these guys to just pop out of the image. They're the star of the shot. That's why the shallow depth of field. They're gonna be the only thing in focus, and that is intentional in this image. So any focus stacking I do is just going to be coverage to make sure that I've got the subject in focus all the way through. That is it. Really pretty, really interesting. Not sure what it is, but I like it. All right, friends, we made it back to the trailhead and back to the rental car. So clearly, that's the end of today. Really good day, actually. I can't complain about anything. I did get a little frustrated halfway through the day, but that was just my inability to find shots. So no one to blame for myself. No one to blame but myself for that. But my goal today was to pay more attention to what I was doing, and I think in that regard, I was successful. I feel like I at least did better than I usually do, which is to say, probably not as well as I could do, but improvement. So we're gonna take that. I did have a wonderful day, and I really do wanna thank you for coming along with me. Please give it a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe if you would like to see more. And tell your friends, because the more the merrier. I really would like to see the channel grow. And if you liked what you saw here and you'd like to see some more, please head on over to my website, toddhphoto.com. Over there you can see all the images I've been taking throughout the year. And while you're there, I would love it if you signed up for my mailing list. As a member of the mailing list, you receive early access to my blog 1 week before it's posted on the website. And also, as a member of the mailing list, you receive free access to download the featured image for 1 week before it's offered up for sale as a digital download for $1 on my website. And if you'd like to get a print for yourself, I do have a small selection of fine art G-clay prints of some of my personal favorites available for sale there as well. But for now, from the Little Big Econ State Forest Park here in Orlando, Florida, or very near Orlando, Florida, so long, and we'll see you next time.